Greetings YouTube, Cross-Train here. I am coming to you today again for the first time in a long time from the game Banished, which is, if you've seen my series on Wordy Dird and even CTville before that, you know I love this game. I just haven't played it really for many months. Just for fun last week, I just started up a game just to relieve myself from the stress of World of Tanks, quite frankly. And in this game, it's all on me. So I don't have to rely on anybody else for my fun, for winning or losing or all that kind of stuff. So to me, this game is fantastic and really a chill game. Plus, I wanted to come back and I wanted to see if all of the lessons that I've learned in the previous hours I'd spent in the game helped that first winter, helped my banished crew families, the 4 families, get through that first winter easier. So, did that. I had no intention of continuing to play it, but just reminded again how much I love this game. So, once again, just for the record, I played it on hard settings and with natural disasters on. This area that you're looking at was my original. My folks' wagon was right here when we started, and so we spawned right in this area and had to give it a go. I had 14 folks in that original crew, and so I set about right from the very beginning to establish this center of resource production. Again, if you recall my other games, that included a forester's lodge. I harvested a whole bunch of trees out here first, and then some of my first buildings were these first 4 houses here. And then I came in and set up my hub here, my resource hub, which includes a forester's lodge, includes a gatherer's hut, a hunting cabin, and at least in this hub I have a herbalist as well. So I set that up as soon as I harvested the rocks and the iron and the trees in here, had enough to get my folks into a house before winter came. You spawn the first time you play. When you open up a new game, you spawn in early spring. So you have the whole most of the calendar year, if you will, in game to get your folks on the cover. You have some food in here that's enough to generally get you through the first winter, which mine did in fact get me through the first winter. And so you need wood and you need firewood to get these houses up. So the last thing I did in my original was to put a now demolished woodcutter, which was right in this spot right here. We'll talk a little bit more about that in a minute. But so what I found was that for the first time ever playing this game, including in Wordy Dird, which I started before I learned about this hub, this was a very stress-free first winter. My folks were never in danger of freezing, never in danger of starving. And all of my workers were right in this general area, and they all lived just outside the circle you can see of the forester. So they all lived just outside that, had quick access into it, and I had zero, and I mean zero, problems. And these guys just went to work and got me established. So with that done, I ended up playing that first time when I started this up just to really check out. I was going to leave right after that. I ended up playing through about 5 or 6 years in that first time in here, and had a nice little town starting to grow up. You can see I added some things over here. I added a blacksmith shop, a tailor shop. I had a school right here that I added, a second wood cutter here. I had one there, as I said. I had one right here. My idea on this wood cutter when I originally planted it was that he would serve my stone quarry, which I put just on the other side of this hill here. So once I harvested most of the stone around, I wanted to get a stone quarry going, so I created my stone quarry right there. And to supply that, I had a couple of houses, and then I ended up building another. This actually came much later, and I'll talk about in a second. But then I in that meantime, I also laid out a second hub, which I will show you right here. This one with everything but the herbalist shop. So I've got the forester's lodge, I've got the gatherer's hut, and I've got the hunting lodge. Again, so I created a second hub here, and again, to support that, I put these houses, 4 there, and a well. On hard, you got to have a well for house fires, as well as a couple of the houses here. So this hub started humming along nicely. My town was coming along quite nicely, actually. I had massive wood and massive food production. I was just producing a ton of food. Got my town up to, I think, 42 citizens in the spring of year 9. As you can see, currently I am spring of year 16 at this point. And as you saw in the thumbnail for this video, perhaps, oh, by the way, and I had just laid out in the spring of, or maybe in the fall of year 8, I'd put a mine over here to begin mining out iron and eventually coal. I'm going to go ahead and zip these up a little bit, actually. So I had established that, a couple of houses with a well here to support the workers here, and I even had gone ahead and planned for the future to put this town hall in here. The other thing I did, of course, I put a market right here to serve all of this area here, including over here by the mine and any houses that might go there. Partly because this hub right here has no storage shed. You'll see I usually put a storage shed. If we go back over to my original hub, you'll see that I've got a storage barn here. So the idea is these guys gather everything instead of having to walk real far to put it in. They just put it in the barn, and then the vendors from the markets, such as this, go to those barns and gather materials and resources that they want. But for this one, I decided not to put a barn in there. I decided that since it was just up the street, they would bring their products or resources directly to the market. It was working out fantastically. So that's where we were. That sets up the beginning of what was going on in the spring of year number 9. Things are going great. I think, as I said, 42. Set up a place for a trading post coming up. I did set up a fisherman's dock just to supplement our food. And then in the early summer of year number 9, disaster struck. If you recall from Wordy Dirt, if you watched that, I went 59 years in Wordy Dirt before I saw my first tornado. And I had dealt with some, infestations of food and crops and orchards and stuff like that. And I believe even before the tornado in Wordy Dirt, I believe I'd also dealt with in tuberculosis or something like that. But I'd had a hospital and was able to minimize the losses there. But here I was in year 9, and disaster struck. 42 citizens. I had a tornado strike, and when I first saw my little symbol right here that showed a twister coming, of course I paused the game to find out where it was. And these are smart tornadoes. If you've never played Banished, these are smart tornadoes. And this son of a gun was actually right out here in the water. And I'm going to take you through the path and just kind of show you what happened here. This started right here, and it followed this path right here, cleared all of these trees that were over here. It skipped these houses, so it just kind of skipped right up over here, and then it came through and it wiped out the market, wiped out the woodcutters, wiped out these houses both. It left the stone quarry intact in these houses, but it just kind of hovered in this area. And I had hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of firewood pieces and food in this market that were gone in an instant. All along the way, it was swallowing up adults and workers and kids and so on and so forth. By the time I got to here, I'd already lost half of my population. Then it kind of hovered out here, came out here, and then scooped right back in here and took all of this out. You can see I haven't done anything with these yet. These are kind of the ruins of what was left there. But it took every one of these, the barn, the tailor, the blacksmith, the school, all the kids in there, or the students in there were wiped out in the school. The woodcutters, the other woodcutters that was here, the 4 houses. It left the well intact. I don't know if they blow up. I guess they don't blow away because it went right over the top of it. But it did leave the fisherman's shop. Okay, at the time I had 0 interments in my cemetery. And then it went off to here, and it missed all of this, but it took out all of these trees along here, and then it just kind of wandered off that way and went away. When all was said and done, I'd gone from 42 residents down to 13. And it was a disaster. It was literally a disaster. I think I had 1 child left in the village. Had, of course, no students. They were all gone. Most of my workforce was gone. You can imagine with just 13 that I didn't have a whole lot left. Something weird has gone on because it now shows me just 15 of 42 graves. There were 35 folks in graves within a couple of years because I had a couple other people die. My first generation of folks were beginning to die of old age. At any rate, so I had a disaster on my hands. Not only that, but almost all of my firewood was gone. Almost all of my food was gone. And it was now summertime. I had not much time and not many workers to get this thing back and try to salvage the day. So it was genuinely something I didn't have to deal with in Wordy Dirt until much later when my settlement was spread out. The impact of that tornado wasn't nearly as significant, even though it killed about 60 or 70 folks in my town. I had 400 or 500 at the time the tornado hit there. Plus I had several marketplaces, so I had food to spare. There was nothing here. So you can see that it is now, as I said earlier, it's the spring of year 16, and so I've spent 7 years since that tornado went through, just trying to get this thing back to the point where I could produce some food. I could hopefully have a few more babies and raise them up. My 1 or 2 kids that I had left after the tornado, hopefully they grow up and become laborers. All of the things that you depend on in Banished for survival. So you can see that in the intervening time, I've remade the market. It was real touch and go. I had 0 food, 0 firewood for a time. Fortunately, I didn't have many people, so I didn't have a whole lot of demands in terms of firewood or food. And then I just finished here this area again to put it back in. I decided that I didn't need a second woodcutter right here. So anyways, we are on the way back, assuming no other natural disaster hits us. But again, you can see right now I have 19. I'm only up to 19. Let me tell you why. Here's the problem that I was left with. And it's gotten worse, of course, in the last 7 years since the tornado. Let me show you the residents of my town. I've got a 56-year-old laborer who lives alone, LaShonda, lives alone. No kid's going to come from there. I have a 69-year-old vendor who lives in here. No kid's going to come from that. These 4 houses, I've got an old couple, 59 and 60-year-old couple who are now no longer in childbearing age, so no more kids coming from them. I've got a 60 and a 65-year-old couple, no kids coming from them. I've got a 65-year-old all by themselves, no kids coming there. I've got a 13-year-old who lives alone, and until I get a childbearing age suitor for them, I am in trouble. I have one young family right here, 30 and 34-year-old, who had a child a couple years ago. So there's some hope that I might add another child or two there. I have a 69-year-old stonecutter who is no longer going to have any children. Over here, I have a 36-year-old. I never knew these things. I think this is a male that has no spouse or no other. Look at over here. This kind of drives me a little crazy. I've got a female over here in this house. I've got a male over here in this house. They're both of childbearing age, but they aren't getting together. It's like, oh, dude, you live across the street from each other. Get it on. Come on, give me some kids. Then I've got a 10 and a 28-year-old. That would get you arrested today, but there's some hope there that I might produce some children there. And then I've got a 28-year-old and a 4. I'm not even going to go there. But at any rate, those are my residents. I've got trouble. My population is going to die soon. You see, I've got a lot of 60-somethings. My population is going to die off, and I've got only 1, potentially 2. If these guys would ever move across the street or catch each other's eye through the window or whatever, then maybe 3 potential couples to start populating my town again. But barring that, I fear that this will be a very short series on limes, because I've got 19 folks, and probably, as you saw, 12 of them are going to die in the next couple of years of game time. So I've got some real challenges, and really nothing I can do about that. I can't build anything except for maybe a fertility clinic for, some of these guys that are in these houses. Where are they? If I could get some fertility clinics for these guys, maybe I could help. But the tornado wiped out an entire generation. Those students that were so critical, and the kids that were wiped out, like I said, I had 1 or 2 children left. It wiped out an entire generation, which put me at a very, very difficult spot now, because I've got nothing I can do to bring this back, except for hope that I have some folks who produce a few babies and I can recover. But we'll see. I know I didn't do any game play. I've got the game paused, but I just kind of wanted to set up this series and see where it goes. It may only be 2 or 3 videos long because my town may just die because of that tornado that came early and took out an entire generation of folks. So that is one of the challenges, of course, of Banished, and it is one of the things that makes the game fun and interesting, certainly. So we'll see how it goes. I am going to continue playing this game, and I'll bring you a video from here to there and let you know how it goes. But until next time, this is Crossstream from the game Banished again, and from the village of Limes. Hopefully there'll be a next time, and I can, well, at the very least, I'll bring you a next time and show you that it's a ghost town because everybody died. But until next time, I will see you out here in the wilderness. Peace.